You know those games that completely destroy any plans you had for the day? The ones that make you lose track of time and leave messages unanswered just so you can play just a little longer? This list is exactly about that. Absurdly immersive worlds, battles that grab your full attention, and stories that stick in your head. Each one has the power to steal hours of your life without you even realizing it. So get ready, once you start, stopping will be the hard part. Before we begin, tell me, what was the last game that made you forget the time, push back commitments, and play way later than you should have? And if you can subscribe to the channel to help it grow, I'd really appreciate it. From one gamer to another, let's get started. In the heart of a brutal, unforgiving world, the first Berserker Khazan throws you into a journey where every battle is a test of endurance, strength, and will. The story follows a warrior marked by injustice, returning not just to face enemies, but to tear down an entire system that tried to erase him from history. It's a narrative fueled by vengeance and redemption, carried by cinematic scenes that make you feel the weight of every decision and every strike. Gameplay invites you to dive headfirst into intense, visceral combat. Every movement, every dodge, every blow must be calculated, but never losing the raw brutality that defines a true Berserker. This isn't button mashing. It's about reading the rhythm of the fight, punishing enemy mistakes, and seizing every opening to crush whoever stands in your way. The animations are fluid and heavy-hitting, making each encounter feel like a legendary duel. The world surrounding this journey is a grim portrait of decaying kingdoms and ravaged lands. Ruined villages, castles swallowed by darkness, and battlefields forgotten by time create a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. Everything invites exploration, yet demands caution, because the next corner could reveal an enemy as lethal as they are relentless. This setting isn't just a backdrop, but a constant reminder you're in a land that doesn't forgive weakness. Khazan isn't just an action game, it's a plunge into a blood-soaked saga where brute strength meets the emotional weight of an intense story. It's for those who want to feel every blow in their bones, for those who crave fierce combat tied to a plot that holds you until the very last moment. A title bound to make you lose track of time and remember each hard-earned victory for a long time to come. Grime is a descent into a surreal universe where bizarre forms and distorted landscapes merge into a dark, hypnotic spectacle. The story unfolds through fragments and symbolism, letting you interpret the meaning behind each creature and setting. This mysterious narrative pulls you forward without clear answers, driven by curiosity and the strange beauty surrounding each step. Gameplay in Grime is demanding and precise. You face grotesque enemies and imposing bosses using living weapons that morph according to your combat style. The absorption mechanic, devouring foes to gain power, adds a unique twist to battles. Each fight is a test of reflexes and adaptation, where victory comes not just from strength, but from reading patterns and striking at the right moment. The world is a strange spectacle made up of organic corridors, twisted towers, and impossible horizons. Every environment feels carved from dreams and nightmares, creating an atmosphere that's both intriguing and unsettling. There's no visual relief. It's as if you're trapped in a living reality, one that breathes and watches your every move. Grime stands as one of the most unique entries in its genre, blending visceral combat, exploration, and an aesthetic that's both repulsive and fascinating. It's the kind of game that lingers in your mind long after the screen goes dark, like a dream you can't quite forget. Hollow Knight takes you through a forgotten underground kingdom where beauty and melancholy walk hand in hand. The story is told in silence, ruins, and distant echoes, leaving you to piece together what befell this land. Every corner hides secrets, and the sense of discovery is constant, whether meeting an enigmatic figure or uncovering the purpose of a mysterious area. Gameplay is precise, demanding quick reflexes and patience to face enemies and bosses that punish mistakes. Exploring this world means learning its rules, memorizing attack patterns, and adapting to each challenge. Gained abilities completely change how you traverse the map, opening paths once unreachable and turning exploration into a deeply rewarding journey. The world of Hallownest is vast and alive, even in its decay. Abandoned cities, caverns filled with bizarre creatures, and softly colored areas create a fascinating contrast between danger and calm. The atmosphere is almost hypnotic, with each region carrying its own personality and mystery. Hollow Knight is the kind of game that pulls you in and refuses to let go, an adventure that blends challenge, emotion, and a unique beauty, leaving a mark on your memory long after it's over, an invitation to lose and find yourself in the poetic darkness of a kingdom never meant to be forgotten. Still Wakes the deep plunges you into the isolation and terror of an oil platform surrounded by a relentless ocean. The story unfolds amid a disaster where something inexplicable turns the workers' routine into a claustrophobic nightmare. There are no weapons, no direct combat, only the instinct to survive and the desperate attempt to escape something you can barely comprehend. Gameplay thrives on suspense and constant tension. Every narrow corridor and cramped room might hide an unseen threat, and the sound of footsteps or metallic thuds becomes as menacing as any monster. It's a game that demands full attention to detail, making every second feel like a race against time. The atmosphere is suffocating, heightened by the industrial setting that grows more hostile as the structure fails, and the storm outside threatens to consume everything. The ocean, ever present around you, is a constant reminder there's no easy escape. Still Wakes the Deep isn't just about fear, it's about feeling the crushing weight of loneliness and helplessness in the face of the unknown. A suspense that clings to your mind, turning even moments of silence into something far more disturbing. A game for those who want their heart to pound and their breath to quicken until the very last frame. Telltale's Batman delivers a Gotham that's dirty, dangerous, and packed with secrets without falling into the cliché of portraying the hero as just an invincible vigilante. Here, the game puts you both under the Dark Knight's cowl and in Bruce Wayne's shoes, making you deal with political dilemmas, personal crises, and the constant pressure of keeping the city from collapsing. Every choice shapes not just the story, but the image others have of you. The narrative is split into episodes, each one carrying that suspense that forces you to keep going. Dialogues are intense, with multiple options that can turn allies into enemies and villains into unexpected pieces on your chessboard. It's a game that demands attention to every detail because one poorly chosen line can compromise entire investigations or put innocent lives at risk. Gameplay mixes investigation, crime scene exploration, clue analysis, and a few but impactful action moments using the QuickTime event system. It's not just about beating enemies into submission, but about manipulating information, exposing conspiracies, and deciding which side of Batman will prevail, the cold strategist or the ruthless enforcer. The game also brings bold reinterpretations of Gotham's iconic characters, breaking expectations and adding layers of complexity. It's impossible not to get involved with these new takes, whether you're trying to understand their motivations or deciding if they deserve a second chance. More than a superhero game, Telltale's Batman is an interactive drama that dives into power, corruption, and sacrifice. Every decision makes you feel the weight of trying to save Gotham while Bruce himself struggles not to lose his way. A journey that grips you with constant tension and the feeling that everything could change at any moment. The Wolf Among Us drags the world of fairy tales into dark streets, smoky bars, and dangerous alleys. Here, characters who once lived in magical realms now scrape by in the underworld of Fabletown, and you're the sheriff tasked with keeping order. A near-impossible job when a brutal murder sparks an investigation filled with lies, secrets, and violence. The story builds itself slowly, exploring the darker, more human sides of these legendary figures. There's no room for purity or innocence. Every encounter reveals hidden agendas and fragile pacts that can crumble with a single choice. The game thrives on this atmosphere of mistrust, where any character could be hiding something. In gameplay, choices matter just as much as action. Interrogating, analyzing clues, and deciding how to react in critical moments determine the story's path. Action scenes are rare, but carry serious weight, with intense chases and fights that always feel on the brink of spinning out of control. The setting is a visual showpiece, neon lights reflecting off the rain, cramped apartments hiding old grudges, and streets that seem to hold secrets in the shadows. This mix of fantasy and urban decay gives the game a unique, almost hypnotic identity. Throughout the story, you're constantly forced to choose between following the rules or acting brutally to get results. And no matter the choice, consequences always come, sometimes fast and violent, other times slow and subtle, but always inevitable. The Wolf Among Us is a perfect blend of mystery, tension, and corrupted magic. A narrative that hooks you with its atmosphere and writing, keeping you suspicious of everyone until the final scene, and still managing to surprise you. The Witcher 3 is the kind of RPG that feels endless, not because it drags, but because the world is so alive and full of stories you just don't want to stop. The main plot follows the search for someone deeply important, but along the way you'll find side quests so well written they feel like standalone chapters of a book. Every decision you make affects the fate of kingdoms, families, and entire villages, and nothing here is black and white, morality is always gray. Combat blends swordplay and magic with a unique rhythm. Signs let you control the battlefield, set traps, shield yourself, or ignite enemies, while potions and oils prepare you for specific monsters. Some creatures require research before the fight, giving real weight to every encounter. It's not about rushing in, it's about thinking and surviving. Exploration is a whole story in itself. The map ranges from peaceful rural villages to cities steeped in political intrigue, from dangerous swamps to desolate shores. Everything is populated by NPCs with their own routines, markets that open and close, and random events that spring up out of nowhere. It's easy to get lost in Witcher contracts, hidden treasure hunts, and secrets only the most curious will uncover. The Witcher 3 isn't just about slaying monsters or solving problems. It's about feeling like part of a world that keeps breathing even without you. It's the kind of game you boot up to complete one quest, and before you know it, hours have passed and you're nowhere near your original goal. God of War takes one of gaming's most brutal franchises and rebuilds it into something bigger and deeper. The journey spans lands inspired by Norse mythology, full of gods who aren't just background decoration and creatures so stunning they feel like living paintings. The narrative is anchored by an intense relationship that grows with each step, delivering moments of pure action and quiet scenes heavy with meaning. Combat is a masterclass in weight and precision. The Leviathan axe is a spectacle in itself, whether slicing through enemies, freezing them on impact, or flying back into your hand with that unmistakable sound. Battles mix raw power, strategy, and positioning. And the best part, every new enemy is a lesson, forcing you to adjust your rhythm and use every tool you have. Between fights, the game offers rich exploration. You can discover artifacts, solve clever puzzles, face extremely challenging optional enemies, or get lost in side stories that expand the universe. Every corner hides something worth finding, whether it's lore, an upgrade, or a memorable fight. God of War manages to be intense without losing the heart of its story. It's a journey that balances cinematic moments with the feeling that you're truly controlling something grand. When the screen goes dark, you don't forget what you've just lived, and you still feel like going back. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2 completely breaks away from traditional RPG formulas, diving into the most faithful recreation of the Middle Ages possible. No dragons, no magic, no epic legends. Here, the weight of a sword is real, hunger and fatigue are constant enemies, and every decision matters for your survival. The plot is inspired by real events involving political intrigue, territorial disputes, and personal dramas that make you feel part of a larger conflict. Combat is so technical it can feel intimidating. Every strike has direction, every block needs perfect timing, and managing your stamina can decide victory or defeat. Fighting skills aren't enough. You need to be well-fed, well-equipped, and mentally ready. It's a game that demands patience but rewards you with a genuine sense of achievement. The world is a showcase of authenticity. Villages with bustling markets, castles with watchful guards, fields and forests hiding both human and animal threats. The day-night cycle and weather directly affect your actions, and even traveling can be a challenge depending on the situation. Deliverance 2 isn't for those looking to rush to the end. It's for those who want to live the journey. Every battle won, every successful negotiation, even a simple meal eaten in safety makes you feel like you're truly surviving in a harsh and unpredictable world. Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden pulls you into an emotionally charged narrative where the supernatural and the human constantly intertwine. Set in a colonial America filled with dense forests, isolated villages, and legends that seem to come alive, the game places you in a constant dilemma: help the living or fulfill your duty to banish the dead. Every decision is not just about right or wrong, but about who you're willing to sacrifice to reach your goals. Combat blends direct action with spiritual abilities. On one side, there's precise, brutal physical combat where swords and rudimentary firearms carry real weight in every blow. On the other, ethereal powers can manipulate the battlefield, weaken enemies, and even alter the environment. This combination keeps every encounter intense and unpredictable, demanding a balance between raw strength and supernatural cunning. Exploration is dense and packed with secrets. Abandoned villages tell stories through environmental details. Forests hide mysteries that only reveal themselves to careful eyes. And interactions with NPCs are layered with nuance. Many may be alive or not exactly. Each side quest carries its own narrative weight, deepening the feeling of being immersed in a world that reacts to your choices. This game doesn't just tell a story, it makes you feel its impact. When a life is lost or saved, you'll notice the consequences later, whether in a character's gaze, the silence of a once bustling place, or subtle shifts in the world itself. It's a rare blend of action, drama, and suspense that lingers in your mind long after you've put down the controller. Resident Evil 4 Remake brings back one of the most iconic games of all time, rebuilt with the power of the new generation. The suffocating atmosphere grips you from the very first step into that remote village, where every corner feels like it's hiding something ready to leap at you. The story follows the mission to rescue the president's daughter, but what begins as a rescue op quickly becomes a fight for survival against horrors that defy all logic. Combat has been completely reworked to add more weight and fluidity. Shooting, dodging, and using the environment to your advantage become instincts you'll need to master fast. Enemies aren't just obstacles, they surround you, communicate and react intelligently to your actions. The classic inventory system demands constant management, making every bullet, grenade, and herb a precious resource that could mean the difference between life and death. Exploration goes far beyond moving from point A to point B. Every location is brimming with details, hiding secrets in drawers, cabinets, and side paths. The pacing shifts between moments of pure tension and bursts of intense action, keeping you from ever feeling safe. Memorable bosses return, reimagined to deliver even more striking and cinematic battles. More than nostalgia, this remake stands tall as a sharp modern game that can win over both longtime fans and newcomers. It preserves the essence that made it legendary, but adds a new layer of intensity and realism, making every minute as electrifying as it is unpredictable. The Plague Tale series throws you into a grim world where plague and war shape every step of the journey. From the very first game, the story becomes a desperate struggle for survival, amid ravaged villages, abandoned battlefields, and cities rotting under disease. The bond between the characters is the heart of the narrative, driving difficult decisions and breathless moments as both human and supernatural forces close in. Gameplay blends stealth and exploration with carefully measured bursts of action. In each area, you're encouraged to observe the environment, find alternate routes, and use the surroundings as weapons against enemies often far stronger than you. The rat swarms, so iconic to the series, are not just visual threats, they're central to the mechanics, forcing quick thinking and improvised solutions to survive. The visuals are stunning, capturing both the beauty and cruelty of a decaying medieval world. Golden fields under the sun can quickly turn into ruins covered in corpses and plague, reinforcing the constant sense of urgency. The way the game handles tension makes even quiet moments feel charged with danger. Each chapter pushes the story forward with impactful revelations and choices that leave scars on both the characters and you. The sequel expands the universe with wider locations, new tools, and an even heavier emotional weight. By the end, it feels like you've lived through a powerful story that blends beauty and despair in a way that stays with you long after the credits roll. Devil May Cry 5 is pure adrenaline from start to finish, an over-the-top celebration of stylish combat and cinematic action. The story dives into an apocalyptic conflict where demonic forces threaten to consume everything, and three hunters with unique styles must stop the world from falling into chaos. Each mission reveals another piece of this dark puzzle, alternating between explosive moments and revelations that expand the series' universe. Gameplay thrives on fast, fluid, ridiculously stylish combat. You switch between devastating combos, gunplay, and special moves that turn every fight into a choreographed spectacle. Each character has their own approach. One is pure brute force, another focuses on strategy and creature control, and the third is all about speed and improvisation. It constantly pushes you to make the next fight wilder than the last. Environments range from war-torn city streets to bizarre, twisted demon realms. The art direction turns every location into an extension of the combat itself, a stage to show off your skills while losing yourself in a ballet of destruction. The camera and visual effects work together to make every hit feel and look impactful. With colossal bosses, cinematic transitions, and battles that test both reflexes and creativity, the game keeps its foot on the gas from start to finish. Every encounter rewards you not only with story progression, but with the addictive satisfaction of improving your performance. By the end, it feels like you've been part of an explosive spectacle where every second was designed to keep you locked to the screen and wanting to jump back in just to top your last run. NieR Automata starts as an intense action adventure, but gradually reveals a far deeper, more surprising narrative than you'd expect. Set in a distant future where humanity has been driven from Earth by alien machines, you control advanced androids sent to reclaim the planet. At first, it feels like a straightforward combat mission, but as you progress, the game begins questioning the meaning of war, existence, and even what it means to be human. Combat is fast, responsive, and full of variety. You seamlessly switch between sword strikes, acrobatic moves, and long-range shooting without losing momentum. Each defeated enemy enhances the feeling of impact and control, especially when chaining weapons and abilities into fluid sequences. Boss fights are standout moments, combining frantic action with unexpected perspective shifts that turn battles into near cinematic set pieces. The world is open but connected through interwoven areas hiding secrets, side quests with their own stories, and places that hold clues to the past. The design blends city ruins overtaken by nature, vast deserts, and decaying factories, each reinforcing the game's melancholic yet vibrant atmosphere. It's not just about pushing the main mission forward, it's about exploring, observing, and piecing together what happened to this world. What truly makes the journey unique is how it plays with narrative structure and even the format of the game itself. Multiple endings each reveal a new layer of the story, forcing you to rethink everything you've seen. Over time, the line between hero and villain blurs, and the immersion deepens. By the end, NieR Automata isn't just a flawless action game, it's an unforgettable story that will echo in your mind long after the final screen fades. Alan Wake Remastered feels like stepping into a psychological thriller where every shadow could hide something lethal. The story follows a writer who travels to a small town in search of inspiration, only to end up trapped in a living nightmare, where events from a book he doesn't remember writing start happening for real. Each chapter plays like a TV episode, ending with hooks that make you want to move on immediately to uncover what's going on. Gameplay blends combat with constant tension. Light is your primary weapon against the darkness surrounding the enemies, and simply pointing the flashlight already creates a sense of urgency. After weakening them with light, you must act quickly to finish them off with conventional weapons. This dynamic makes every encounter intense, especially when ammunition and flashlight batteries become scarce, forcing you to choose your moves carefully. The settings are a spectacle on their own, ranging from dense forests and deserted roads to abandoned farms and the town of Bright Falls itself, always shrouded in a heavy, ominous atmosphere. The world building is so well done that you feel the weight of isolation and the constant pressure of an invisible threat, as if danger were always lurking, even when nothing is happening. Beyond the main campaign, the game delivers memorable moments that mix intense action with pure psychological horror sequences. The remaster upgrades graphics, textures, and lighting, making every beam of light and shadow even more impactful. It's the kind of game that hooks you both for its story and atmosphere, and when it ends, it leaves that empty feeling as if you've experienced something you didn't want to be over. Detroit Become Human takes you to a near future where androids are part of everyday life, but start exhibiting human behavior, emotions, doubts, and a desire for freedom. The story unfolds through 3 different protagonists, each offering their own perspective on this conflict, and your choices shape not only their destinies, but the fate of society as a whole. Every decision carries real weight, and the script adapts to your actions, opening and closing narrative paths in impressive ways. Gameplay focuses on interaction and decision-making, with cinematic sequences where every move matters. You investigate environments, gather information, and face moral dilemmas that rarely have easy answers. Even a small detail you choose to ignore early on can resurface to drastically change the outcome later. This creates constant tension, as you never know when a gesture, a word, or even silence will trigger irreversible consequences. Detroit's world feels alive and believable, from snow-covered slums to luxurious futuristic skyscrapers. Each environment is meticulously detailed, and interactions with other characters reinforce the weight of prejudice and social conflict that permeates the narrative. The facial animations and digital acting heighten the drama, making every scene more intense and emotionally engaging. The highlight lies in the narrative freedom. There's no single ending, but multiple paths that reflect every choice you make. This encourages replaying to explore possibilities, uncover new revelations, and see how far you can alter each character's fate. It's a game that goes beyond entertainment, creating a deep connection to its story and leaving you reflecting on the consequences long after you put down the controller. Lies of P Overture takes the story into a new, darker chapter, revealing events that unfold right after the base game's ending. This DLC introduces an original narrative that expands the universe, bringing enigmatic figures and an even more twisted threat seeping into the city's ruins. The events deepen the mystery, connecting earlier clues and adding layers of tension to every encounter. It's content that preserves the sense of urgency and the feeling that every step could be your last. In terms of gameplay, the expansion introduces new enemies, original bosses, and exclusive weapons that demand quick adaptation. Combat still has the weight and precision that define the game, but now with more unpredictable patterns and arenas that punish mistakes. Brand new areas challenge exploration pacing with alternate routes and well-placed traps. The difficulty tuning ensures even veterans of the base game feel the pressure in every battle. The world gains unique locations that keep the dark Victorian aesthetic while exploring new atmospheres. Narrow fog-covered streets, once luxurious halls now rotted with decay, and outdoor environments where silence becomes unsettling. Give these areas personality. Every corner is packed with details that heighten the oppressive mood and reward those who pay attention. The expansion seamlessly connects these places to the existing map, creating natural paths and new opportunities for discovery. Overture maintains the high standard of the main game while adding subtle enhancements for greater impact. The new enemy designs are both creative and intimidating, while bosses impress with their sheer scale and visual richness. Lighting and particle effects reinforce the weight of every fight, and the smooth animations make battles even more intense. It's content that not only extends the adventure, but also heightens the danger and mystery that define the universe. Gears of War series builds its legacy in a brutal, war-torn world where the fight for survival never ends. The narrative of each entry intertwines, exploring personal conflicts and battles against threats that endanger all of humanity. The campaigns are marked by twists, tense moments, and cinematic scenes that amplify the emotional weight of combat. It's a story of war, loss, and resilience told on a grand scale. Gameplay leans heavily on the dynamic cover system, allowing you to advance strategically while facing relentless waves of enemies. Combat is intense, with iconic weapons and execution mechanics that give weight to every encounter. The pacing alternates between frantic shootouts and slower, more methodical moments, keeping you fully engaged. Cooperative elements reinforce the feeling of being in the middle of a real military operation. The world spans crumbling urban ruins, underground facilities, wild landscapes, and massive battlefields. Each location is designed to reflect the devastation caused by years of war, while also creating strategic opportunities during combat. The environments reinforce a sense of desperation and urgency, with settings that feel perpetually on the brink of collapse. Realistic textures, dramatic lighting, and weather effects create visually intense battles. Enemy and weapon designs preserve the series' iconic identity, while animations flow with brutality and impact. It's a saga that combines narrative weight and visual power to deliver top-tier action. Stranger of Paradise tells a story of war and fate that doesn't fit the franchise's usual mold. From the very start, the plot carries a dark weight, gradually revealing a world shattered by ancient battles and forces feeding on chaos. Each revelation not only deepens the mystery, but also redefines the role of the one at the center of the journey, creating a constant sense of urgency. Between sharp blades and precise strikes, combat takes on its own identity by allowing you to switch classes mid-battle. This system encourages experimentation, creating unique ways to deal with enemies and bosses. Relentless attacks and well-timed defenses blend with special abilities, turning fights into memorable duels where controlled aggression makes all the difference. The setting is no mere backdrop. Castles built over ruins, forests soaked in strange energy, and deserts bathed in an oppressive sun give each advance its own character. The land bears the scars of past wars, while creatures adapted to the terrain make every step riskier. It's a world that reacts and demands respect. The visuals translate brutality into worn textures, battle-marked armor, and grotesquely designed creatures. The art direction balances grandeur and decay, creating imagery that lingers long after the fight. Every lighting effect, environmental detail, and attack animation reinforces the feeling of facing something powerful and unyielding. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora puts you at the heart of a story exploring the clash between tradition and technological threat. The narrative unfolds with new faces and dilemmas, presenting challenges that go beyond direct combat. With each mission, the plot reveals more about the spiritual bond between the local people and the planet, while industrial expansion threatens to sever that connection. Free movement is one of its most engaging aspects, letting you cross dense jungles, scale cliffs, and soar above breathtaking landscapes. Battles can be silent, with calculated ambushes, or explosive, mixing human weaponry with native abilities. Mounts transform both exploration and combat into grand moments. Pandora comes alive as a living organism, full of contrasts. Bioluminescent forests, deep valleys, and crystal-clear rivers form environments that shift in mood depending on the light and weather. Exotic creatures interact with the world and with you, while hostile territories demand preparation and constant awareness. The game is stunning. Every frame could be a painting. Bioluminescence creates a dazzling night show, water reflects almost realistically, and vegetation reacts to touch and wind. Creatures move fluidly, reinforcing the sense that they're part of a real ecosystem. Its beauty isn't just for show. It's also a reminder that Pandora is as dangerous as it is mesmerizing. And if any of these games have already stolen your sleep or made you lose track of time, let us know in the comments which one it was. While you're at it, drop a like to support the channel, subscribe so you don't miss the next insane lists, and turn on notifications. And when you're done, go check out the video that's on screen right now with even more mind-blowing games you need to know about.